This is Crystal.
Hey guys.
Thank you. All right, I didn't get that recorded. Yeah, we're good. Okay. Thank you. There you go. Make sure the little green light is on that thing too, because if it's not on the little pluggy thing on top. All right, and I'll start again. Welcome to the Lakewood Ranch Leveling Up Workshop. And I'm going to start by introducing Crystal Perez. She is the lead, and if you haven't met her, she is a lead instructor for all 5 studios in the area. She is also our fearless leader and champion of Pilates. And so I'm right behind her, championing it too, and that's why we're here today. Today, just to give you an idea of what's going to happen, you're like paired up. You're going to get a chance to meet your partner if you don't yet. Part of the reason we're doing this is because we're a club. We're a family. You got to get to know the other members of the family, okay? So use that. Then when you see them in a class, you can say, hey, how's it going? All right, so today in the class, we're going to talk about leveling up. How many people have done a 1.5 already? Great. Is there anyone who hasn't? Okay, beautiful, because it's for all of you. If you haven't done a 1.5, you're going to start learning what happens in a 1.5. If you're in a 1.5, you're going to learn more about what you should be doing in a 1.5 and how to make that 1.5 more challenging. You know, a lot of people go, oh, I want to go to a 2. Well, 2 takes a lot, all right? And don't let your ego tell you you need to be there. You can have a good workout in a 1.5 if you learn some of these things that I'm going to share with you today. All righty? So the first thing that I'm going to do is give you 30 to 45 seconds to introduce yourself to your partner. You will be switching back and forth between equipment, so it doesn't matter what you're on right now. All righty? So I'm putting on the clock, 30 to 40 seconds. Go ahead and say hello. Yeah, you don't get to introduce yourself to anybody. That's okay.
Pretend.
You pretend.
I have an imaginary friend.
Your wife's probably happy to be rid of you for 90 minutes.
It is mutual.
You're your little ranger, you good?
Oh, he's happy. He's
He's
happy as a clam that his wife is somewhere else.
So Tom just came in. I put her on the first reformer, but right now she's just talking to the other 2.
What do you think? We can move him up there if you
Well, I
want.
don't know if you wanted me to move her back here or if you want me to move her because he said he liked it back here.
You okay to be alone?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm okay either way.
Yeah.
You need to
Okay.
bring somebody.
We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes.
We'll wait until like a few more minutes and then if anything.
Yeah. And yes, so she doesn't have to be alone. Okay. All right. Guess what? Time. Everybody. Now you're best friends, right? Everybody's best friends. That's perfect. All right, super. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. And this is how it's going to go. I'm going to spend as little time as possible doing a little intro and information. Those of you who have been in my class, you know I can talk a lot, so I'll try to keep it short. Then we are going to start talking about the different components of a class. And I'll give you a little overview of what's going on, how to make it stronger, and then you'll get to practice. And the cool thing is all the exercises can either be done on the reformer and springboard, on the reformer and chair. So both of you can practice and then switch. And Crystal and I will come around and watch, ask questions, and correct form. Okay? So let's get started. Couple things. I got fancy posters. I love these things. These are all the Pilates terms. And so as we go through a class, I'm going to try to define them. If I miss any, please just point it out because I do know the definition. I'm not skipping them because I don't know. Just didn't fit into the conversation. The 6 principles of Pilates, and we are going to talk about those. And then my favorite poster, which we will talk about more, but this is Pilates V. This is one of the things I correct all the time, okay? 2 to 3 inches. I like to say a diet slice of pizza. I have a lot of beautiful dancers that like to stand like this, okay? Or maybe you're losing balance and your body makes you stand like this. But see what happens? My knees are rotated out. My hips are rotated out. My knees, personally, if I stood like this for long periods of time, it would be a matter of weeks and my knees would hurt, okay? If you do that to your knees, time after time, year after year, one day you're going to go, oh, I got knee problems. What happened? That is why I make such a big deal about it, okay? It's up to you. I will correct you 2, 3, 4 times, and if you insist, you're on your own, all right? So that's later when we talk about it, but that's why I have this poster. All right. That's okay. That's okay. So, super. So our goal here, our goal in Pilates is to become what we call unconsciously competent. Okay, what does that mean? There are 4 levels of competency. When you came to Pilates for the very first time, whether it was with us or somewhere else, you were unconsciously incompetent. That means you had no clue, okay? You didn't know the form. You didn't know that you didn't know the form. So basically, you didn't know what you didn't know. You came to a few classes. Suddenly, you became consciously incompetent. Now you know that you don't know, all right? And you keep coming to classes, and pretty soon you're like, I'm feeling it. I'm getting it. Now you're consciously competent, but you got to think about it. You got to focus. That's where most of us, that's where I am. I'm sure Crystal will agree a lot of the time, not all the time, but she's in that place too. That's why we keep saying, pull your navel into your spine, do this. Why we keep repeating, because you got to focus. And in Pilates, there's the cervical spine, there's a lumbar spine, there's the stabilization of the hips, the stabilization, all those things. Where are my feet? What am I doing my knees? Are they locked out? Are they soft? All those things. To think of all those things all the time is not easy. But eventually what happens when you do it enough, sometimes longer than others, okay, you become unconsciously competent. That means it's automatic. It's like when you walk up to a door, you just automatically reach for the door. You don't even think about it. The day you're standing in Publix waiting in line and you go, I just did a Pilates breath. You're unconsciously competent. And that's what our goal is. And to move ahead, to move up to the next level, you need to be in that or close to that spot. Now, we're not going to say you can't go to a 1.5 if you're not unconsciously competent. We want you to be consciously competent, so you're thinking about it. But if you're still in those first 2 uncompetent stages, then you want to work on it some more, because you've got to be able to concentrate and do it. If you can't do it, and when you're concentrating, then you're not ready to move up. But that's okay. You still need to understand, if you know why you're supposed to be somewhere, it's easier to get there than, oh, they just keep telling me to do this. It'll give you a goal, all right? So next I'm going to talk about the principles of Pilates. And those of you who were with me a couple weeks ago, we talked about it from a brand new person perspective. Now we're going to talk a little more about becoming competent, all right? So on our breath, I just talked about inhale through your nose, exhale through your mouth. And actually, let's go ahead. Everybody's got some TheraBands. And can you grab one quick for me so I can demonstrate? Oh, here's an extra one. Take a TheraBand. We're going to do this right now. This is something that I want you to be able to feel what your breath is going to feel like. All right, so you're going to take this. Some of you have done this with me before. You're going to put it, ladies, right below your brassiere. Gentlemen, where your heart monitor goes. Not so high. Heart monitor, lower. Okay. If you wore one. All right. Then you're going to turn your palms up. Just for information, pointer finger, thumb, these are your grabber fingers. Your grip fingers are the bottom 3, all right? So I want you to hold it with your grip fingers, palms up and cross over. Once you do that, bring your elbows in and put some tension on it. Now we're going to do our Pilates breath, 360-degree expansion of your rib cage. Inhale and feel your ribs. Press into the side, press into the front, press into the back. Exhale, blow it all out. Feel your navel come into your spine and feel the band shrink. Did you all feel that? Do 2 or 3 more on your own. I want you to feel it. This is how you should breathe without a TheraBand, all right? But when you put that TheraBand on, it helps you actually feel what's supposed to be going on, how much you have to expand those ribs. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it, but I thought it was really important that you could actually feel what it feels like to breathe that way. And if you have one of these at home, practice. That's how you become unconsciously confident, all right? So breath, it supports our movement. Then we've got centering, okay? So a lot of these you have to think on 2 levels, a global level and then more personal. When we talk about center, we're talking about your core, okay? Core is more than just the abs. We got the obliques, we got the glutes, we got the whole core. And so when in Pilates we talk about centering with our core, that's a lot of what we need to do with our muscles. It's about our movement, about our stability. Core is going to be where the power comes up from, and core is going to be where the stability comes from, and both of those are important. And if you want to level up, you've got to be able to understand how you use your core to either be stable or for the strength, okay? So that's where we need to do that. There's also centering, the mind version of it, and you want to be centered. That's going to help you with the next one, concentration. Okay, so you can't be thinking about going to the grocery store after your class. You got to be focused on listening. Sometimes, half the class is doing something other than the instructor said because one wasn't listening and then the rest went, oh, I need to follow. So be careful. I always say, remember in 4th grade when you copied from the person next to you and they had no clue what they were doing? That's what you have to be careful for in Pilates. So anyway, concentration, focus, concentrate. And sometimes you can't concentrate on everything. Again, to try to become competent, pick that thing that you want to improve on, and then concentrate on that with every exercise. Once you do that, then you can add the next thing on, and the instructor will be giving you cues for the other parts that you're not thinking of, okay? So that's one way to start building that competence. Maybe think about breath. Then next think about, oh, I'm going to keep my shoulders down, and that's all you focus on. Every exercise, are my shoulders down? Are my shoulders down? The instructor will remind you of all the rest. All right, from concentration, we go to control. Okay, control is how we move. Pilates is small, slow, controlled movements. We are not trying to break down and build big biceps, big calves, big thighs. We are trying to support the muscles that protect our joints. Okay, that's deep inside. Slow and controlled allows us to get deep into those muscles. Those are also muscles we don't want to hurt. So that's the other reason, slow and controlled. All righty? Precision. Here we go. Form. We want to have form and alignment proper. If you want to be competent, you have to have form. Anyone who's ever been in Crystal or my class, they've probably been corrected a little bit or seen someone next to them corrected. And then that much, ½ inch, ¼ inch. Oh yeah, I feel it more. Oh, it's deeper. It's stronger. So that's where our precision comes from. And then flow, that's just a principle of Pilates. We like to flow from one exercise to another. So it's part of that slow and controlled movement. It helps the flow. If you're in a good class, you'll know because 50 minutes go by before you realize what's going on. We flow from one thing to the next. There's a concept called flow. The guy's got a funny Russian name or something like that. Anyway, the idea is when you get in the flow, you lose all concept of time. And if you can do that in your Pilates class, you're in the flow, you're doing what you need to do. Okay? Any questions on the principles? We all good? All right, so a little bit on the equipment. Going to share with you. Some of you we've talked about. Springs on the reformer. What's the one that's the heaviest?
Green.
Lightest.
Blue.
And then the red is in the middle, okay? And they kind of bump up. Now, some of you know about the button. Who doesn't know about the button? Okay, so we have a few people that don't know about the button. Sometimes, for example, we're doing some arm work and it's on a red and you're like, oh, I'd like a little more. Green is too much. The button adds 25%. Okay, so that's a way to level up. Okay, so on the gear bar, that's a button and it can lift up.
Oh, no kidding.
Exactly.
So that's when you, forgive me, when you want to do what?
Okay, so say you're doing arms and red is the color spring we're using, but red isn't, you want more, you put it up to the button and it'll make it a little stronger, okay?
So it just makes it
25% more, okay? That's a way to level up, but, and that's a wonderful thing to know, but I'm not going to recommend you do that unless you've got stable pelvis, that your shoulders are down, that your abs are engaged, that you are competent at a red. When you become competent at a red, then you can go to the button, okay? So remember that. It's just not an automatic, oh, I want more. You need to qualify, earn the ability to move up to the next level, okay? Make sense? Springs again, when you're doing footwork. 2 reds, a blue, more abs. 1 red, 1 blue, 1 green, a little higher. 2 reds, a green, that's a little more legs and glutes. And if you're trying to work on bone density, if you are concerned about osteopenia, osteoporosis, 4 springs, 1 green off, okay? That can be quite challenging, so tough on your ankles. So you want to use that with caution, but it is, depending on what footwork you do, when you're up on your toes, not so good. When you're on your heels, it's like doing squats with weights, okay? So again, I know someone recently said my ankles started bothering them. It's too hard when you're on your toes, okay? So it's kind of difficult to go up and down on that during footwork. Maybe I'm hoping next year I can do some osteoporosis-friendly classes, and then we'll keep it all in the right place, okay? But just so you understand, how the springs work. Let's see, was there anything? Oh, chair. So how many have used, oh, yes, ma'am.
What about the gear bar?
Oh, thank you, the gear bar, okay. So,
what's that?
Yes, the gear bar. So there's always one. Okay, so your springs are hooked onto the gear bar. Typically, you'll find the gear bar right in the first notch. Okay, so the way that you tell whether you need to move it out or not is how your alignment is. Normally, if someone's 5'7" or more, we consider moving it out, but that's not always the case. Later, when you're with your partner, you can check it out. You lay down, you put it's toes, right? Toes on the foot bar, and your knee should be at a 90-degree bend. If you're in like this, your gear bar needs to come out. Caveat to that. If you have anything with your knees, knee replacement, any kind of injury with your knee, or even if your knees are just tight and have issues, you want a gear art to protect the knees. Had someone, beginning of class, we asked, is there anything? They said, well, my knees have been bothering me. So I said, well, let's gear you out and see how that feels. Like, oh, that was so good. Maybe that's why my knees started bothering me when I did Pilates, okay? So you have to, it's not just this 90-degree alignment. That's the first thing, but you also have to honor your body, okay? If you start feeling tightness in your knees, feeling something in your knees, maybe this, maybe something else, okay? Honor it, talk to your instructor, get your gear bar out, and see what you can do to get stronger rather than pushing through it. Because sometimes pain is telling you to do something different. We don't always want to push through it, okay? Beautiful. I think, so chair. Who has used the chair before? Okay, so we have a few have not. So the springs on the chair, and I'm just going to slide this one around because it's easy to show. All right, so when we talk about springs, starts from the bottom, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, and sometimes we put 1 spring on, sometimes we put 2 springs on. When you're asked to change springs, you're not supposed to grab by this because this will rip off. You grab the spring up above, lift it off, and then hook it on and make sure it's all the way on, because if it's right like this and you start using it, it'll pop off and who knows where you'll end up, okay? So you have to be very careful on the springs. Now, depending on your size, and I've had some, I like to call them featherweight, little petite, skinny, tinier, and I don't consider myself petite, but little tinier than me, springs that we would normally use for all of us would fly them to the roof. So, and sometimes we have really strong people that we need more springs. When you're in a class, doing the class, follow the springs that the instructor suggests. Always follow the springs, and then talk with the instructor and find out, I could use a little more, I could use a little less, and they will adjust it. Someone who needs less, we usually can tell right away. They can't move things and whatever. Okay, so, and then the 1 through 4, lowest, okay, to highest. And when you match them up, 2 2s don't necessarily equal 1 4. All right, so again, pay attention to what the instructor says. Anything to add on the springs on the chair?
No, just make sure that they hold the pedal when you guys are changing the springs so it doesn't fall, or slam
Yeah.
the springs to the pedal because they do break.
Yes.
So,
Well, if you only take one off at a time, that's the clue. Always leave one on. And the second one is when you take it off, you just don't drop it. Sometimes what will happen, it'll lay like here, and then when you push the pedal, there's this big bang. So you want to make sure you put it all the way down, okay? Yeah, so if we have a full class and one chair is broken, nobody gets to use a chair. Okay, so you don't want to have that happen to you or do that to anyone. Perfect.
So I see that there's 2. Do they always go on the same number together?
No,
or is
no.
it different?
It depends. Right now, one is on a 2 and one is on a 3, and that's what we will be using for the first thing in class. So they're not always matched. Sometimes they are, but sometimes they're not.
So is that considered like 2 reds and a blue?
No. Is there any kind of connection?
those are heavier.
Yeah. We call these the black springs. Okay, so we got purple springs, we got yellow springs, we got red springs, we got blue springs, we got green springs, we've got black springs. Black are the tightest. Okay, so it's the tension, the resistance. Black has got the most resistance, and when you use it, you'll realize you need more resistance for the exercises. Yellow has the least resistance. That's why we use it for the shoulders and upper body. Purple has more. I think purple is more than the green, isn't it? Yes. So, and then you've got the reformer. All right. Beautiful. Yeah. Okay, so any questions? Because now I'm going to start working into the class, okay? We all good? Beautiful. Oh, yes.
I actually have a question. I think that's why I didn't quite like jump board, but my one leg is shorter. Is there any compensation for that?
Good question. There's certain things you can do. Jump board is difficult. On the reformer, if you're doing footwork, you can actually we have sticky pads, or you can take a cloth and you can level up your legs, because what happens is then your hips are out of alignment and you're not getting the best. Exactly. So the other thing, and you might want to weigh in on it, if it were me doing it, and I knew I had one leg longer than the other, I would get my toe socks and I would put a cushion that leveled up my feet into my toe socks so that my feet were at the same level. That's what I would do. That's the only thing that I know that makes sense. Jumping is different than foot bar, because the foot bar you can wrap something around it. But the truth is, you probably, even in your shoes and when you walk, want to level it up, because if not, you're going to have this, and then your knee problem is going to become your hip problem. Eventually will become your shoulder problem, because things being through the body. Yes. We have people have bought online little kind of more shoes with rubber bottoms, but it's still 5-finger shoes are still going to be, they don't make them for people with uneven legs. Wearing one and not the other.
So like even shoes that have like really hard soles like mine, these are like the worst shoes you can wear. That's why I wear them. But you're supposed to have shoes kind of like more curls, but they're more malleable. You can
Yeah.
so you want a sole that moves. It's healthier for your body because your body's naturally supposed to move through the feet. So if you flatten out one foot and then just have the other one, it's not gonna. It still moves, but it's gonna. You'd have to be somewhere to even it out. So I would just say some type of a padding, and probably jump board isn't the best. Like there are some classes that just aren't gonna be great for all demographics, which is why we have so many different types of classes at Club Pilates.
Yeah.
So you can get a little bit more of that like future type based class. You can do your TRX class, your control class, things like that. If you're looking for a little bit more of that bump up. Yeah. But cardio, that's gonna be significantly harder because it's a flat surface, and if there's already an instability or unbalance there, it's gonna be hard to create balance through that, especially while jumping.
There's a second mic. I want you to grab it.
Yeah.
Yes, I do.
Usually don't talk, so.
Yeah, I know, but you had it's in the little container. It's in the little container. Turn on, put it. No, you have good stuff to say, and I want it on tape. All righty. So let me make sure. Okay, so when you guys are used to reformer, okay? Now, when you're on the reformer, you're laying on, your back is supported. When you move to the chair, your back is no longer supported. That's why it's more challenging. So on the reformer, you can be lazy and not engage your core and ride the springs in, and nobody's going to notice much. Some of us will notice, but you'll think you're doing it, and that's the lazy day, okay? But when you're on the chair, if you're not keeping your core, we're going to see it in a heartbeat. If you're not resisting those springs, the chair is unforgiving. So again, that's part of the level up. When you get ready to sit on the chair, and we're going to get to this in just a second. So when you're on the reformer or on the chair, you should be doing the same thing. Pulling those abs in tight, shoulders back and down, stable core, stable hips, stable shoulders, shoulders down, and then moving so your hip, knee, and ankle joints are the ones that are moving, and that's what's moving. Everything else is stable. Your neck is long. You're not looking at the floor. You don't have the headrest up with your chin tucked or the headrest down with your nose pointing at the mirror. You want to have that nice long spine. That is the same no matter which equipment you're on, all righty? You all know pretty much how to lay onto the reformer and get ready. Quick on the chair, the way that you're supposed to do it is this, your gluteal fold should be right at the edge of the chair when you get ready to sit on it. So you're going to turn around with your feet on the pedal. Your gluteal fold is going to be on the edge of that chair. And then you're going to have to try to keep your pelvis from rocking. Now that might be hard for some people. Technically, someone who is classically trained will not let you slide back. But if you need to keep your hips level, and you can chime in on this, if you need to keep your hips level, two ways to keep them level, because you don't want the hips rocking when your legs are going up and down. You either shorten your range of motion, which is the preferred way to do it, staying at the edge. But you can also slide back a little bit, but you're cheating, and you're cheating yourself more than anybody else. Because if you want to learn to have that stable pelvis, then even if you're only moving a few inches, you're building that. If you slide back, then, it's a crutch. So enough said. All right, any questions on footwork? Because what we're going to do is try a little footwork. The person that's on the reformer, I want you to try the springs in a couple different places, see how that feels. Those of you who are on the chair, I just want you to experience the chair, focusing on keeping everything in your torso stable, okay?
Is everybody okay with hands-on cueing?
Thank you for
or tactile
asking.
cue? Okay, cool.
Yes.
Just making
All right.
sure.
So you got it right up
All
there
right,
to
lay
the
on
edge.
down
Beautiful.
or sit on up.
Flex your feet. Sit tall. Let's see. Shoulders over. Yep, you got it. Oh,
Yeah.
quick thing I forgot.
let's see with your
where
neck.
do
Lay
I
down.
put my hands on the chair? Couple places you can put your hands. I like to say
Can you lower
press
it
your
one more?
palms back because it requires your collarbones to open. No,
lift
press
that
it
up.
back against
Try
the
that.
edge of the chair.
Yeah, midway.
So you're going to put your hands on
Or
the
else you're
edge
like
of
this.
the chair.
You'd be like-
Feel how, yes, you find your spine.
There's midway.
Some
There's all
people
the way
like
up,
to press
midway,
on the
and
sides
flat.
and press in. You're going to
Put your feet
activate
up
your
on the floor.
lats, but not as much on your collarbones.
Put your toes on.
The next step up, we'll talk about in a minute. Okay? So let's go ahead, just 2 or 3. Go ahead, lay down.
See, if I put you up here, your knees are past your hips, right? So you have to.
Okay,
So if I
feet,
keep you down here,
just like you do in a class. You can do Pilates V toes.
that's
You
your
can
knees
do
are a little bit low.
Pilates
So
V
you're right
heels.
in between.
You
So
can
I
do
would stay
heels
there, or else
wide,
you're gonna
you can
fire
do
up more hip
toes wide,
flexors.
you can
Yeah,
do
or else you're gonna
parallel
get more hip
feet.
flexors, not
Choose
enough
the
core.
feet you want to use. This is more
Yeah.
about you feeling what's going on, okay?
Am I not forward enough?
Right here.
Come all the
right
way
here.
in. Put your toes on.
Right there
Lift
on
your
the
heels
crease.
up.
It
You need to
should
be in gear
feel,
too.
you should be right on the edge. It should feel like your butt's going to slide off, okay?
You got long femurs. Lay down.
Your sit bones should be on the chair.
Have the instructor do it.
So
'Cause if
you're
you
right
break
in
it, you owe
front
me
of your
300
sit
bucks.
bones. Right, good.
You owe me $300. That's how much they cost. Everyone.
Beautiful.
Just for that gear bar. Isn't
So
that crazy?
let's flex the feet from the ankles. Keep your heels up high.
The whole station's about
There you
10
go.
grand.
Now, go ahead.
So come on in.
Perfect. Keeping those feet nice.
Put some
and
pressure
straight.
into the
Good,
big
good
padding
job.
of the foot.
How are you
So
doing?
you want even pressure through the
Okay,
whole
so
padding.
if you're
so
on
go
your
ahead and exhale,
toes,
press out. Left
Lift your
hip
heels.
flexors
So
more
come all 10
core.
toes. A little closer together.
Think nice and chest open.
Now,
Sink
press
the
the
ribs.
heels
Don't
together and
imprint.
lift them.
Hip points pointed down. Yeah.
And even
That's neutral's
though
fine.
you're
Get it
not
off your
laying
shoulders.
down and squeezing your
Yeah.
inner thighs together,
Keep
imagine
space.
you are.
So inhale in.
So the difference when you think
Exhale,
about
sink your
activating the inner
ribs.
thighs,
Don't imprint.
same principle. You just
So when
can't
you do
get
it, don't
them
go like
totally
this.
together.
Right?
So you just
Think
activate the inner thighs.
inhale
So
and nothing moves.
when
in
you
that
come up,
pelvis.
so come up, knees open,
Your knees
shoulder
gotta
lift
stop
now.
at the hip line. That's as high as your
Activate
legs
the inner
go. So when
thighs
you're
as you go
taller
down.
on the
Feel
chair,
it, but
less
now
range
you're
of motion
weaving.
if you have
So
longer
sit
legs.
tall, chin
Yep, or
straight
else you're gonna
ahead.
be going
Now
like
pull
this.
your abs in, shoulders down.
So
Now
lower
feel
your
it.
knees in line with your
Can you
hips.
feel this? You're still wobbling a little bit.
Right there. That's your start.
Less range
So if
of
you notice,
motion.
it's not a big
Less
range.
range of
Why? Because
motion.
footwork on the chair isn't about your legs so much. It's about the core stability. It's about the spine. Oh yeah.
Now you feeling
That's
it?
a nice
And
noisy
now your
one,
core's
huh?
nice and stable. Great. All right. How are we doing?
A little bit heavier.
How long should we give them on each one? Just a couple
A
minutes?
couple more minutes, yeah.
Okay.
So they can try it out. We
Yeah.
can get around to them.
Because then we're going to switch. How are
Yep.
you doing back here? Oh,
Try
okay.
it. Let's see. It's
How
gonna
are
be
we
significantly
doing?
heavier.
Are you switching spring efficient? Switching.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good, good. Yeah, adds a little more. Perfect. How are we doing? Good?
Good, I think.
Great. So you're on your, yep, let your
Try that.
heels, bring your heels a little further, just
So
like
when
you
you
would on the
start-
foot bar, just like you would on the foot
So when
bar.
you start, your
Now,
knees gotta
not
be at your
down,
hip line.
back.
See how high
Feel
your
the-
knees are up?
there you go. Now,
So lower the heel. That's your starting position.
No,
so
no.
notice the taller
Range
you
of
are,
motion that
the
your
less
hips
range you
don't
have.
move.
Why? Because it's not about the legs
so
here.
that's what
It's
you
about
want to
this.
do. Yep.
So go ahead,
Kind of
exhale,
stop
press
when
the
your
pedal
knees are
down.
about in line with your
And then
hips.
resist
That's
back
high
up.
enough.
You gotta
There
go
you
slow.
go.
See
Now
how you're
feel the
leaning
abs
forward?
engaged.
Stay tall in the sit
Yes.
bones. Exhale,
All right,
press.
beautiful.
Inhale,
How are we
resist.
doing
All
here?
here. Nothing else down there.
Good. Okay, so when you come up, try to keep those knees in line with your shoulders.
So you're in a
Are you-
pelvic
how are you
tilt,
doing
which
your
is going to
feet? Pilates
overfire
V.
your hip
Okay, that's good.
flexors
Knees in line
and
with
work
your shoulders.
nothing in the
now,
lower
when you go
abs.
down, imagine you're squeezing
So,
your inner thighs together.
keep the
just like
space
you would
here.
on the reform.
Release
Feel the
your
difference.
pelvis.
Your abs engage more.
Yes, that's
now gaze
neutral.
straight ahead.
Keep
Sit
that.
tall.
Now
There
pull
you
your
go.
abs in
Now.
without moving your pelvis.
Okay,
Yes,
so
the
your
abs go
hips
in
are
and up
wobbling a
into the
little,
rib cage
right?
and the ribs sink down.
Shorten your range of motion.
As you
Don't press
maintain
it down
neutral.
so
If you
far.
imprint,
Only
hip
press it to the
flexors
point
fire,
where
you
you can
suddenly
keep
start
your
having
hips
hip
from
flexor
moving.
pain.
Feel the difference? Then your core is working because your goal
I
is
just saw
for
you
that
tuck your tailbone
torso
and I knew right
stability.
away. Yeah, that's what most
Well,
people
yeah,
do,
because that's what you're
which is
using.
okay
Yeah.
for a bridge, right? An
It's
articulating
hard.
bridge,
All right.
or any sort of like a bottoms up type of a bridge. But in footwork, the goal is neutral pelvis, neutral spine. So you inhale in and you fill up at
So it depends.
Inhale and you fill up at the
you want to
ribs,
be on
right?
your side
And
of
as
the
you
foot
exhale,
bar, your
pull the
side.
belly tight.
So put that
Pull the
space
ribs all
between
the
the
way
balls
in.
and the toes. Put
Yeah,
that there.
that's
Now
it.
lift your heels
That's all you
like
gotta
hit
do.
your nice comfortable high heels.
Any other
Right now,
movements aren't
press out.
necessary.
Heels are
I
going
know,
to
that's
drop
what
a
everybody
little
does.
bit. Now let
They
it come
splay
in
the ribs,
and let
they
the heels
imprint the
come.
lower
No,
back,
don't let them
and
go
the
down.
line.
Bring them back up.
My hip flexors are really tight.
Yeah, there you go.
I know.
Feel that now?
You got this. How you doing?
Good, good.
Good.
Why is this making so much noise?
Bring your hands to the front part or to
I
the
don't
side a
know.
little bit more. Yeah. Try not to push down. Think of just like pushing
don't worry
into.
about it.
No.
And you
Don't
guys
push
got
down.
help?
Don't push down. Think about pushing into.
So I was just
And open
wondering,
up the chest.
knees
Sink the
should
ribs.
come
And
No,
all the way
knees
right there.
as far as your
Yeah.
hips. Just bring them up to your hips.
You're welcome.
That's where you want to start. So this press back. See, feel
Good, yeah.
feel that open up when you press back.
Yeah. You feel the
Now,
difference?
Go ahead. Let it come up and then press. Now, what I want you to do.
Come all the way and then put your toes on.
Stop right there. Open your knees the width of your shoulders. Right there.
Here too.
Now. Oh, you're in parallel.
You need to be in
feet,
gear
right?
too.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, keep the heels high. Sit
Put your toes
tall.
on again.
Go
Lift
ahead
your
and
heels
press
up.
down. and then
Toes on.
resist up. Don't go to the bottom.
Heels up.
You
Where
want
your
to
knees
find a
at.
range of motion where these hips don't move. You're pulling
Because
your
remember, it
abs
doesn't matter
in,
so much
keep
about
pulling your
height,
shoulder blades down
body.
your back.
And
Torso
it's about
stable.
the body. Right? Height, we say height.
Don't push it
It's really
down
about
any
the body.
further than if it's you start wobbling when you push it, you went too far.
Because guess what? I'm 5'4". I'm
There
in
you
gear
go.
2.
Starting to see, yeah, there you go. There you
I'm
go.
5'4". I'm
How
in
are
gear
we doing
2.
down
Why?
here?
Long femurs.
It
Long
looks okay. So
tibia.
don't grab. You want to press back.
Long.
See what
Sometimes
happens
people have
when you
longer
press back?
torsos.
Feel your
It
back.
just depends.
See how you? Yes. Okay. Now.
So you're gonna get less. You're gonna get less hip flexor,
Okay.
more lower
You're
abdominal
tiny,
work.
aren't you?
Yes.
And for bridging, do you cramp a lot in the
so
hamstrings
what I
while you
want you
bridge?
to do,
That's
lift
why
your feet up
you're
for
too
a
close.
second.
Oh my gosh.
This will help.
I'm going to give you a little less spring.
Have your instructor
Okay.
do it. Because if you guys
Well,
break
great.
it,
Yes,
I'm
and
gonna charge
you're-
you
and you're
$300 to
lightweight.
fix it.
I'm the time. Thank you so much.
No, yeah, well, it's too much.
I just like to.
spring.
I like to threaten people with money. I would never charge you, but they don't let me.
Edge of the chair. Now that's fine. Yep. Sit bones on.
Absolutely, you break my stuff, I would charge you, but it's not
Now
Crystal's
sit down.
Pilates. Club
Then
Pilates.
push it down a little bit. Start with your knees in line with your hips. So knees
Yeah,
down.
because before you were
And
imprinted.
sit tall. There you go. Squeeze the shoulder blades in the back. There you go. Don't let these hips rock. So you're going to do a
You're welcome.
short range of motion to keep the hips. There
Yeah.
you go. Now you're feeling it in your core. You're going to feel it here too, but you want to feel it in here.
Now put your headrest down and try a bridge.
Pull the
Your
abs
headrest
in
is down. Go ahead,
deeper.
try a bridge.
Your
Scooch down
hips
2
are
inches.
rocking just a
Hands
little
down.
bit. Yep.
Chest open.
Small
Go ahead, try
range
to
of
bridge.
motion.
You
You
might
wanna
cramp the
focus
first one
on
if you
the
naturally do.
abdominals.
Come to your arches.
You're welcome.
Remember, you're pressing
Okay,
from the
I'm
top of
going
the
to
foot
have
bar. Go ahead, try a
everybody
bridge.
switch. Yes.
Gear 2.
Yes, yes, yes.
Thank you, Crystal.
Oh, lay down, lay down.
Yeah, you're welcome.
You have long legs. Long legs.
Absolutely, ma'am.
Put your toes on. Put your
You don't
toes
need
on.
it. I can tell just by your body.
Lift your heels. See where your knees
Yeah,
are?
all
Yes,
good.
you need to gear out. Yes.
Do me a favor, lay down, put your toes on. Let's see.
It's on
You
your
get 2, right?
toes. Yes, it's on your toes. I can tell you have long legs. See, it's all about body proportion. Now, go ahead and do it and see how that feels. So now you know what you need.
I have to gear out.
Yeah, look at now.
Yeah.
Look at now. You've got a straight line.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. So you have to gear out.
So do I gear out for everything in constant?
No, only thing on feet.
Put your toes
So
on.
foot, feet, and straps. Footwear.
That's it.
Anything in arms?
Good.
We either gear in
Do I sound like I'm
or
kidding,
we'll
woman?
give you heavier strength. Okay. It depends on the instructor as far as arms.
Your butt
but
cheek hold.
Definitely feet. Always feet.
You don't know where your
No,
glute
that's
fold
good.
is?
That's why we're here, because you can't ask that
So
in the middle of class.
think of where your glute and your hamstring meet.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, you
So,
want to have this
yeah, it's
right
usually
here
easier if
on
you
the
put it
edge. Sit
scooch
bones
forward
on,
more.
Then push it down so your knees are in line with your hips.
Right there.
So press down,
Yep.
knees
So
in line
taller.
with the hips. Now sit
Ribs.
tall.
Yes.
Sit
But you
tall.
see how your
Now,
pelvis just dips
press it
forward?
down.
Try to keep it nice and neutral.
Not to the
See that
bottom.
wiggle?
See how your hips are starting to move?
Pull your
Only a
abs
little
in.
bit.
Don't let this move at all.
Only press it as far as you
Exhale,
can
scoop
keep
the belly
hips
tight when you
stable.
press down. Exhale,
You wanna
scoop those
control.
abs in. Now you're more stable.
Does that seem
Relax
like a
your
lot of
shoulders. You look
spring?
intense. Yeah, welcome. Yes.
Okay, come on. Come on.
So like when I do privates, I do a lot of like holding because you don't know
Okay, let's
until you know.
try it
In
again.
class,
I'm gonna
I
give
tell
you a
people, I'm
little
like, I'm
lighter
going to touch
spring.
the crap out of you, and I hope you're
So
okay
I have
with
you
it.
on 2 and 2. Slide up
So
close.
You don't know what you don't know, right? That's
No,
what you talk
heel.
about, incompetent,
Heel.
competent, blah,
Slide
blah,
your
blah.
all the way up, all the way up, all the way up. Knees
I'm going to
down.
put my hand underneath your lower back.
Press it down. Press it down
Stay
now
in.
to now.
All
That's
the way
your
in.
starting space. Sit tall.
You're crushing my
Okay,
hand,
straight
which
ahead.
tells
Pull
me
your
that
abs
you're
in,
imprinting your
shoulders down,
pelvis.
tighten this up.
Relax your hips.
All right, now
Push
go ahead.
your tailbone
Exhale,
that
press
way.
it down just a little bit.
That's your
Inhale,
body, your
resist
tailbone.
up. Do it just a
Nope,
small
don't
range
do
of
that.
motion.
That's a pelvic
to
tilt.
start. Press
That's
down
an
a little
imprint,
bit.
which you're not supposed to do during
Resist up.
footwork.
See how hard
So
you're
you want to
having
think of
keep
your
hips
pelvis,
stable?
tailbone reaches
So
towards the foot
chair
bar.
is challenging for you.
The other way. There, that's
Okay.
neutral for you. You need to
Let me
maintain
go
that
check.
during your footwork.
Do you have a
If you
question?
keep
Okay.
imprinting, you're going to fire up your hip flexors, and you're going to have hip flexor pain.
How should your legs
And we don't
Okay.
want that. We're here to
Yeah,
work
okay,
the
so
lower
they zip
abdominal.
together.
If your
Yes,
hip
they
flexors
do.
or quads
See?
are overfired,
Now,
the lower ab, that
squeeze those
transverse
inner thighs.
abdominis will never turn
Can you
on.
feel your pelvic floor
Right?
lift? And
So
your
I want you to take an
abdominals?
inhale,
Okay,
put my
now
hands on your
bend
ribs.
yes.
Take an inhale
Bend
in,
your
remember
knees,
you're
come
breathing
out.
through the ribs. And
Let
as
them
you
open.
exhale, nope, don't do that.
And then
Exhale, pull your
squeeze
abs
the
in and
inner
up into
thighs
the
as you
rib
lengthen.
cage.
Feel it all
Yes,
the way
good.
up
Do that
into
again.
your belly
Inhale, fill up
button.
at the ribs.
Yeah.
And now when you exhale, don't move your
Okay,
pelvis.
and
Pull your belly
honestly,
button to your spine. Pull
Try
those
that.
ribs
How
up.
does that feel?
Good.
Well,
Again,
your nose
inhale.
is supposed to point to the ceiling.
And then as you
See the way
exhale,
it
belly
was?
button
You
all the
had
way
a
up
little
the
bit of
ribs.
turn in your neck. So if you're
Good.
comfortable,
You maintain that. Try it again. Now we'll move with the carriage.
Okay.
Inhale in. Exhale, press out. Try not to imprint.
Let's see. Lay down. We're
And
going to check it.
slowly return.
Put your toes on the
So I
foot
want
bar.
you, yeah, you see how your pelvis just relaxed there? Keep
truthfully,
that.
your alignment's
Press
okay,
out.
but how are your knees?
Better, and in. So you've
It's up
already
to you.
badly trained your pelvis to tuck and imprint, which is fine during articulating bridge, not fine during
Come up
footwork.
on your tiptoes.
So I want you to try to remember, it almost feels like you're almost in an anterior tilt when
It's
you're
not
doing
all the way
footwork.
at the stopper.
So think
You are
about
so borderline.
hands to hip flexor
If you had
points
knees that were
right here,
problems,
put both
I would
hands on.
say absolutely.
And there should be
If
nothing
you
turning
feel like,
on
why
in
don't you
this
try it?
region
Move it
when
out,
you press
try
in
it,
or
move
out.
it in, see how you
And
feel about
keep
it.
my hand here without
Okay,
crushing
it's
it.
your workout.
Ah, there you go.
No, no, no. Stand up. It takes both
Ta-da.
of them and sliding it. And be careful. No, well, if you do, it has a chance
Yes,
of getting
ma'am.
crooked.
You got it. Now you're a pro. Now don't mess it up. Okay?
Hands here, press back. There
How
you
you
go.
doing?
Feel
Good?
that now.
And then just
Let it come up to the height.
It's okay.
You
We all
come
do it.
right knees to
How we
your
doing on
hips
this side?
and then gently press down.
How you doing, my little pelvic
Feel
tilter?
that in your hips are staying still, aren't they?
So when you
Pull your
start,
abs
your
in. You
knees
want
are at
to
the hip line,
exhale, pull
right?
your navel
I'm
to
looking
your
for nice neutral spine.
as
So you're
you
wearing something
press,
really loose.
and then inhale,
I want to see
resist.
you a little bit, which even if you pull it
Okay,
up a
now
bit.
your knees can go higher
Good.
if your hips don't rock.
Okay.
So think
Okay.
about scooping in
So
and
you
up.
can increase your range
Yes,
of
see,
motion
that gave
as
you
long
more
as
stability. That's what you got to think. Scoop in and up.
Yeah, yeah.
That's it, baby girl.
Okay.
You got it.
Good.
How we doing over here? Did you make
Have
a
you
mess
guys
on the floor? you okay?
Okay, good.
Try not to lock your knees.
Yes,
So lower
yes.
the knees a bit more.
Okay.
Start here.
Okay,
Chest
so
up, belly tight.
gluteal
So I'm going to
fold
put my
on
hands
the
here.
edge.
This
Sit
doesn't move,
bones on.
okay? My hands here.
Arms
this doesn't
long.
move.
Press,
Inhale
no,
in,
don't
fill up
grab.
at the ribs.
You're going to press straight back.
And
Feel,
as you
now
exhale,
feel what
slowly
happens
press
when
the
you
pedal
press
down.
straight back. You're active here.
That's it. You did it. And then inhale, release,
Yep,
and
there
stop.
you go.
That's all
Now,
it is.
Knees are in the right
Don't look
place.
down.
Now
There's
go
nothing
ahead,
down there.
exhale, pull your abs
your
in,
face
press
forward.
down just a little bit,
Good.
and then resist
It's all
on
about
the way
the
up.
core, that
Are your hips
stabilization here.
rocking? No. Okay. You can add a little more range of motion if they're not rocking. But you want to be in control. Takes a lot of concentration.
Those are still a little bit lighter, so it's still about core stability.
That's where you want.
I don't feel any rocking. Do you? I want to make sure I'm doing it right.
Yeah. Yeah, you seem to be, but you're
Whenever
shaking.
you're on the
You're
heels,
not
you should feel
rocking,
your
but you're
glutes.
shaking.
Right.
So the heavier the
Okay,
springs,
good.
the
I
less
think you
core
got it.
stability,
cool.
right?
But see,
So
you're pressing
if you're
more
someone
down.
starting
I want
out,
you to
I would
press.
choose two
Feel
grids
the
in a
difference
green
when
or
you
red,
press
green,
back
blue.
now.
Right?
Yes,
If I've
and
asked
now
you
do it
versus
again,
osteopenia,
pressing
I'm going to
back.
start with 4 springs.
See
If
how
I've been
much
doing
easier
Pilates
it
for
is
lighter,
to keep
a
your
long
abs
time, I
engaged?
go lighter because
Yeah,
I want
and
to
what
challenge more of
happens
that
is people
pelvic
start
floor,
like
that
this and then they
transverse
get like
abdominals.
that. So you
So
got
there's a lot of spring
pay
options, but for
Right, yes. It's
starting
like
out now,
activate
since you guys are
these.
still, I would say,
That's
how
what
many
it
years
does.
have you been doing Pilates?
Activating this makes
Yes.
this easier.
Yes.
Okay, that's still
It's
considered
all
newer, right?
connected.
So 2 reds of green or red, green, blue. You have a red, green,
Good.
blue
What's
right
that?
now. Are we maintaining neutral? Can we still breathe into the ribs? Are we firing up hip
Actually,
flexors?
yeah, you look like you
all
could
these
use
things are
them. How does it?
important.
Yeah,
Think
I mean,
less
look,
quads,
you're
more
all lined up.
abdominals, right?
Well, yeah, even more so. I mean, when I look at you just like this, I would say yes. But if you've got knees to
The
protect,
lighter you
then
go,
double
the more
yes.
core stability you need to focus on. So I don't think better, worse, right? The different tensions. Anything lighter is usually going to be more
Yeah.
core focused. Why? Because the bigger dominant
Yeah,
muscles
no.
do
I
not
would
have to
start
fire.
gearing out.
We want to try to keep these guys off in Pilates because you walk
Foot
forward, you
things.
run forward,
So
you
if
step
you're doing
up
footwork,
forward, you
if
go
you're
up
doing legs and
stairs.
straps,
No one's
if
crab
we're
walking.
doing any
No
kind
one's
of
walking
plank where
backwards.
the length of
Right?
your leg
So
matters,
that's why
and
it's
we'll
so
hopefully have
important to
time to
keep it
do
a little
that
bit
today, so
lighter,
you'll be able
working
to
on
see
the
it.
heels, the arches, and the
Okay,
toes. That way you can find that pelvic stability, right? And you're not going to go
1.5.
too much into your quads. Quads are overworked anyway, right? Think of your quads as like the
There's some
overtime 80
standing
hours a
presses.
week
There's some
worker that
things.
looks like they're burning,
Oh, okay,
but will
that's a good
always
thing.
take more
Remind me
hours.
when we get back when we
Think of
use
your
the
quads
chair
like
and I'll
that,
show the
right? They
whole
will
class,
always be
okay?
there.
Are we gonna? I'm
Kind of thing.
going
Next.
to.
Keep going.
Okay.
You're good.
All righty,
Spent a
let's
lot of time on
go.
that
So,
one.
yeah, just a second. We have a.
Would it be okay to add a button?
2 seconds.
Yes, add a button or a spring. You're a
ballet.
gentleman.
Here.
Gentlemen always need more. If you want to
That'd be
go
a
for
squeeze.
4, go for 4. All righty, everybody.
Slow,
Had some
everything.
experience with
Unless they
footwork,
tell you not
chair
to.
versus the reformer.
No
I
imprint.
did have a
Keep the ribs
question
down.
about what
Neutral
classes
spine.
do we
Release.
use
Right
the
there.
chair? Okay, which is a very good question. We use the chair. We cannot use it in a 1. Okay, here at Club Pilates, we use it in a 1.5. But in a 1.5, we only use it in what they call closed kinetic chain. Except for footwork, what you just did is allowed. Other than that, what closed kinetic chain means is you have one of your limbs on the floor. Okay, so when your limbs are not on the floor, so for example, if any, well, you probably didn't go to, we didn't do a 2 here yet, did we?
That's
Workshop?
in 2 weeks,
No,
I believe,
okay.
in December.
So if you're standing on the chair, or so for example, there's an exercise where you hold on, you put your feet on and you lift, you have no body part on the floor. That is not a 1.5 level. Like we'll do standing, pressing the pedal down. You've done a bridge. We'll do that today. We can do a plank, pressing the pedal down. Anything, a mermaid, where one foot is on the floor. Those are all appropriate for 1.5. When no hand or foot is on the floor, then that's not a level 1.5 chair exercise. Okay? All right. Any other questions on footwork before I move on to bridging?
Can I make a quick thing on that?
Yes.
So biggest thing was finding the proper gear, regardless of our height. I think the most important thing was finding the proper gear for our body. So some people were unaware. So even if you fall below the 5-7 line, always just check your body. I think we figured out there was like 2 or 3 in here that deserved to be in gear 2, that were in gear 1. And then also making sure we're not imprinting during our footwork. A lot of us thought by drawing the navel to spine, that was an imprint. So remembering that nice neutral pelvis isn't that scooping in and down of the lower back, it's scooping in and up of the lower abdominals. So I think those are essential, and that's what we see that you guys, for me, that's where most of you have to kind of work on, especially learning that imprint versus neutral, and then the breathing, right? And that's everybody, right? All of us can always go back to those foundations and get reminded over and over again.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, so
I'm done. They're yours.
if Crystal says it, came from the Pilates Bible. All right. You don't want that much pressure?
Nope.
No.
I'm good.
Okay, good. Well, if I said it, it doesn't come from the Bible. But it could have. It could have. I won't guarantee it. All right, so the next we're going to talk about bridging, all right? And there's a few things that I want you to know about bridging before we start. One of them is flat back versus articulation. Is there anyone that has not heard those two terms? So everybody has heard. That's good news. All right, so flat back or hinge bridge means that your back is, your total back is flat. You do not move your spine. You hinge from the hips, come up, and then lower down, all right? When you do a hinge bridge, you want to think core, then gluteal fold, then lift from the gluteal fold, and your knees go forward because that lengthens your hamstrings. We're going to use our band so you can feel that. I want you to feel it, okay, when the time comes. So that is the hinge bridge. The hinge bridge focuses on strengthening glutes. The articulating bridge is when you tilt your hips. Remember pelvic tilts where you rock and you find that imprint? So that's the way to find an imprint, is a pelvic tilt. You don't want a pelvic tilt, like Crystal said, during footwork. But if you're doing an articulating bridge, you start with the pelvic tilt, and then one vertebra at a time, you peel your spine off, and then you lower one vertebra at a time. The purpose of an articulating is to strengthen your spine and give it more flexibility. Now, the glutes are working, but if you try, and when you come to it, I want you to try one articulating next to one hinge. You should feel your glutes working harder in the hinge than in articulation. And I actually see people articulating because it's easier. They don't realize it, their body does, and that's why they articulate. There's a place to concentrate. What am I doing? Now, another caveat to that is that if you have concerns or have diagnosis on osteoporosis or osteopenia, the recommendation for Pilates is that you should not be articulating, and you should keep that flat back, okay? And every person is different, and everybody has their own T-score. And so although we say it as a blanket rule, and in a class we will treat it that way, if you want to look at who you are and what you are, that would take a private with someone that knows how to do that, okay? So I'm not going to say never ever know, because there's different theories about it. But in general, if you have osteoporosis, osteopenia, and then of course, if you have bulging disc, herniated disc, vertebra issues, any kind of fusion in your back, you should only be doing a hinge bridge. Your back should not be having that articulation, okay? And some of our clubs have more people with that stuff than others. This group maybe doesn't. It doesn't matter. You need to know those things, okay? So that's, let me see if was there anything else really important about bridge? Okay, so
Don't think so.
A few modifications. If you're feeling it in your back, maybe just for the day, maybe all the time, this is when you put your feet on the platform instead of on the bar. And again, if you have any kind of back you're protecting or you just want to experiment, put your feet on the bar, put your feet on the platform, see what the difference is. Another thing, more springs, easier, less springs, harder. If you have 4 springs on, the carriage is being held in by the springs. If you only have 2 red on, you're gonna, that's a level 2 thing. You shouldn't be doing that, but this carriage is gonna be getting away. And that's when your hamstrings kick off. So if you are doing a bridge, say on 2 reds and a blue, and your hamstrings are cramping like crazy, adding a green will help you be able to do it and give your hamstrings that support. So that's another thing that you can do to help yourself. But before you do that, make sure your form is right. You should have your arches on top, not against. You should have your toes to the center aisle, and you should be pressing down with your knees going forward. If you're doing all those things, you should be pulling it out of your hamstrings and lengthening them. If you're doing all those things, still having cramps, then it's time to add the green spring. So you don't want to just automatically do it, okay? Let me check if there's any other little quick thing. I'm not going to go any harder than that. No, I have more stuff to say, but I want you guys to get to it. So the first thing we're going to do is just double check your springs on the reformer. And then on the chair, those of you who are on the chair, you get to take a spring off. You're going to leave 1 spring on number 3. Okay? The reformer footwork springs, whatever. So remember what I said. Hold the spring. So we're going to take the number 2 off, and we're just going to lay it down.
You're going to push your chair all the way in towards
number
the mat.
2 off and lay it down.
Yep.
Yeah,
push
that's
your
fine.
chair all the way in towards the mat.
Okay, so when it comes time to do the bridge on the chair, what you're going to do is you're going to lay on the floor, you're going to put your arches on the pedal and push it all the way down. We're not going to get fancy on this, okay? So lay down. Those of you on the reformer, you know what you're doing. Take a TheraBand with you. We're only going to use the TheraBand on the reformer, okay? Because I want you to try it.
I know.
All right.
Lay down.
So feet, don't put your feet there. Never put your feet on the wood because you can get them smashed by the pedal.
No.
Bring the pedal all the way down.
Scooch in more.
And then you're going to scooch in. And you're going to, everybody knows how to lay for a bridge. Bring it all the way down. Those of you that have the TheraBand, I want you to put it across your knees.
You're going to exhale,
like
press
this.
the pedal down to the floor. If you
Cross
can't get
your
it to the floor, you
shins
might
just
have to
below
lean
your
back
knees.
more, like
And I
scooch
want
back.
you to hold on to it. With like it's
Exhale,
reins
go
to a horse's. So your palms are down
that's like
and
a
your
hamstring
arms are
curl,
long,
right?
just like you would have them at your side.
So that's your hamstring curl.
Arches
So that's a
on,
good way to
toes
start
to
to
the
warm it
center
up.
aisle.
Did you take a spring off? Yeah, she did. She was good.
Okay.
She was concerned for you.
Okay. So everybody's
Get the
in
pedal to the
place.
floor.
Beautiful. Now
Go
you're
ahead,
going to
lift those
take a
hips
nice
on up.
big
Good.
inhale. Remember, you want your neck nice big
Sink your
inhale.
ribs.
Up.
Try not to push
Does
away.
anybody have a headrest up?
Gentle tuck of that tailbone. There you go. And think
I'm
about thigh
taking a
shooting
quick
out
peek.
of
I
those
think we're
knees. Don't
good. We're
come up
good. We're
higher.
good.
Think
Nope.
about thigh
We got a
shooting.
headrest up.
Yeah.
All righty. Beautiful. Now, everyone,
guide
you're
the pedal
going to
back
take
up
a big
nice and slow.
inhale. You're good. Stay right there for now. You
Try
can
it
scoot
again.
in and try it. Big inhale.
It's okay.
Press your
It's
head
okay.
gently into wherever
Exhale.
it is.
Pull your
Press
abs
your
in.
palms into the
Feel your
carriage.
hamstrings. Don't
Pull
push.
your navel
Press.
to your
Good.
spine.
Keep
Engage your
pushing down through
abdominals.
those arches.
Now activate your
Gently
gluteal
lift up. So you're
fold
hinging up.
to lift. And as you
Good. Now
lift,
sink your ribs, tuck
bring
your
your
tailbone.
knees forward.
There.
Those of you with the
Thigh shooting over
TheraBand, I
the
want you to
knees. Felt the
press
difference, though?
into
You felt
that
the connection.
TheraBand.
It's okay. You're pushing away.
Lengthen.
And
Pull
then
your navel
slowly
in.
roll
Yes,
back down.
lengthen. Feel those hamstrings lengthen. Beautiful.
And then guide
Take
the
an
pedal back up
inhale.
nice and slow.
And then
It's
lower
okay, guys. Turn
back
on the
down.
hamstrings first. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, I want you to,
Right, I'm gonna leave
you need some
Go ahead.
tension on this.
You're welcome.
You need some tension. Perfect. How you doing? Oops. Yep.
Good.
Put your arches on there. Yep. Hold it down. Are you
Shoot your
used to
thighs
doing
even
this?
more over your knees.
Oh, okay, then you can do.
Shoot your thighs
okay.
even more over your knees.
Everybody ready? Now go ahead and do
Sink
a
your
few
ribs.
bridges, everyone.
Yeah, there you go. You feel
There
that
you go.
opening?
Go ahead. Bring it up.
You're welcome.
Oops, let's bring these
You got
feet
it, you're
forward
good.
now. Knees, there you
roll
go.
back down.
Knees forward.
Nice.
Can you feel that lengthening back here? when you bring your knees forward, pressing in, perfect. So everyone that's got their TheraBand, can you feel the lengthening in your hamstrings when your knees go forward into the TheraBand? I want you to feel that because that's how it should feel without the TheraBand.
Mm-hmm. And lower back.
All right.
Good.
So is this the hinge or the...
You can do either one,
Yep,
hinge or
hinge
articulation.
or articulate based on your spine. And I want you to maybe do one of each so you can feel the difference. Hinge is when your back is, no, yes, hinge is a flat back. Gluteal fold and you lift as one piece.
You like to bow out? Try to stay
No,
parallel.
don't pull it, no. No, you got to keep your back flat. Pull
Go
your
slower.
abs in and just
Try it again.
keep the back flat.
So if you're doing
let the hips go
articulation,
straight
feel
up.
each vertebra lift. Think
Did
of
you
it as
feel your
a
back bend
massage
a
and a
little bit? You
lengthening
don't
for
want
the
to let it
vertebra.
bend.
So you
Don't let
can't
it
do it
bend.
quickly, right? You
How's
want to go
everybody
slow.
doing? Good?
So you get that nice little stretch. Now sink your ribs a little bit more. Tuck
All right.
your tailbone under. Think of those thighs shooting over those
Anybody,
knees.
you guys look good. Anybody have
and then stay
questions?
nice and parallel with those feet. How's that pressure on the feet?
If not, let's do a switch.
Yes. Remember, it's those
Okay.
little things, right? And then
do a
slowly
switch.
come back down.
So the other
guide the
person
pedal
gets a
back up.
chance to try.
It's all about the micro
Remember,
stuff.
an
A lot of it is micro.
articulating and a hinge, unless you're not supposed to do articulating. If you're on the reformer, I want you to use the TheraBand so you can feel your knees going forward.
I'm letting you finish. Sorry.
Okay. Go ahead. If you have questions,
let me know how it feels
know.
when you bridge.
Oh no, it just no. Don't put
Nope,
it
lay
on.
down.
It just begins.
Arches of the feet on top.
No, we don't put the mat. We don't put the chair on the mat. Yes, I will.
Good. So the chair will move if you push it away.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, if
so
you
think about
yeah,
pushing down.
there you
Keep
go.
your butt
Gear
down.
her back
If
in.
you can't get it all the
Perfect.
way down, then just push out. Push,
I
the
can
pedal
do it.
back
I
up
can do it.
and push your booty back a little bit.
Do I need to get up?
No,
There you
I
go.
can do it.
Go ahead. Try now.
Okay, so what I want you to
Now even
do
pressure through those feet.
is
Get the
put
pedal
this
to the
right
floor when you're
here.
ready.
Now
Keep
pull
it down.
Yes.
Put even
now,
pressure through
as
your
you
arches.
abs in.
Now whether you're
gluteal
articulating or
fold,
hinging, you're going to go
hinge.
ahead
I
and
want you to
gently
hinge,
come on
and
up.
as you come up,
Try not to bow out in those
forward.
knees.
Feel when you press
there you
your
go.
knees
Sink
forward.
your ribs a little
Now
bit.
get down on your shoulder blades. You're into your neck.
Tuck the tailbone a little bit more.
Lengthen
Think
your
of those thighs shooting out of those
There
knees.
you
Don't go out in
go.
those knees or
Feel the
hips.
difference?
Even pressure through those feet. Yes.
There you go.
There
Wiggle
you go.
your shoulders.
And then come on
Feel
down.
the knees
Roll.
forward and how
Then you can guide the pedal
hamstrings
back up.
lengthen.
So you get a nice little
Beautiful.
curl. You can
Good
keep
job.
it down, but
Okay, go
I
ahead
want
and
to
put the
challenge
pedal
you.
all the way down.
Now don't push
Press
the
it to
chair
the floor.
away. And I'm gonna leave you alone. Sink your
All the
ribs,
way
tuck the
down. Hold it
tailbone.
down.
How those hammies
Hold
feel.
it down.
It's okay. Sometimes it'll just
Today we're
overfire.
just doing it easy. I
Try it
mean, there
again.
is that way, but time, we're already enough. Oh, really? Only up?
Yeah.
It's okay. Try it here.
Try to relax your
Because
toes.
that's
Relax.
a more advanced way.
There you go.
But people haven't done it before. If you
People
want
like
try
to
it, I'll
clench a
teach
lot
you.
in Pilates. They're like, "Oh!" Like just the core is
How
the
are we doing?
biggest thing to really focus on.
How are we
Yeah, your
doing?
body's like,
Good?
"Oh!" And then you
Can
stop
you
breathing.
feel the
And
knees
then like
going
weird
forward?
stuff
Here,
starts
but I want
happening.
your hands like this, just like they are down. So normally you're on, yes. See, because then your shoulders are down like they're supposed to be. Okay, now go ahead.
Try it again.
Abs, glutes,
Now follow my hand
knees
down.
forward.
Keep
There
your
you
butt
go.
up.
Feel up. Did you see yourself pushing the carriage out? Come down.
Follow my hand down. I'm gonna get right above your tailbone. Keep
Okay,
sinking
now
your ribs.
knees forward because that's going
Think
to keep the
Shakira body
carriage
roll,
going out.
right? So you ever seen
There you
Shakira
go.
do
Feel
her
the
like,
difference when you press
that's what
down
you're
into
thinking.
the
Yeah,
foot
yeah,
bar?
yeah. That's what you're
Alrighty.
thinking. So go slower. Pelvic tilt. Scoop the belly slowly.
How are we
Peeling
doing?
up.
Got it?
Yeah.
Okay, so hold right
And then
there.
you're all the way up. Sink the ribs.
Lengthen your
Tuck
head.
the tailbone.
Lengthen
Thigh should over
there
these.
you
Even pressure
go.
through those arches.
Weight
Start
should
from
be in
here.
your shoulders.
Slow.
You're getting
Sink
up
the
almost into your
ribs
neck.
into
Weight
the
in your
spine.
shoulders.
Sink the
Neck long.
belly
Feel the
to the
difference in your
ribs.
spine. Yeah.
Good. Keep
Yeah.
going.
Well,
Keep
you
going.
got
Keep
two
going.
things
This is where I
going.
let my hand go and you
Yeah.
release.
So weight's on your shoulders, not into
You
your
stop
neck.
breathing, but that's okay.
Did you try it with the band? Okay, good. And you don't
okay,
have
you
to
did it.
again if you don't want to.
How
I
are we
want
doing
you
on
to
this?
keep
You're
your neck
welcome.
long. So think
How are we doing
crown
on
of the
this side?
head. Go ahead and come up.
You're straight.
There you go. Now, yeah, see, try to
The goal would
see,
be
you're going to
that,
drop
but
a little
depending on the
bit
health
down
of the
into,
spine,
there you
right?
go.
You want to
Feel the
gently tuck the
difference?
tailbone, sink
Yeah,
the
you don't
ribs,
want
and
to,
think of the thighs shooting
the
over
neck
the
is
knees.
more
So
of
the
a
biggest thing you
yoga,
should feel the
which
opening
is
in the
probably
hips
where you
here
got it.
and the
And
strengthening of the
we stay on the
glutes.
shoulders.
Obviously, hamstrings
Okay?
are there to assist. We don't want them to overfire. We don't want the
How are
neck
you
or the
doing?
shoulders to be clenching, right? You want to think of this is to open up hips, strengthen up glutes.
Mm-hmm.
That's the purpose.
The ribs should go down.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
one, okay.
And then you start to
one or
arch your
two
back.
things. Put your feet down on
So
the
most of
platform.
us have splay ribs because we don't have that upper abdominal
Do it again
connection.
with your feet
And
on
most
the
of us have an
platform. See how
anterior
that
tilt because we
feels.
let the belly flop out. That's why so many
How
people
does
come to
that feel?
Pilates because of back pain, but really it's muscular back pain because
Okay.
we're constantly crushing and the lower back is overfired and your
Now you got
psoases
an
are
extra
shortened
spring.
and so are your
Try it now.
hamstrings. Yeah.
Platform
So
first.
this is basically trying to correct that
Better?
only if you can bridge properly,
Yeah,
right?
it's just weird, but it's
I know it takes a
not
few.
here, it's here.
How you doing? You good?
Okay, right there. Those are the attachments.
Try not to
That's
push it
not
away.
even. We'll get Crystal over here
There
to
you
see
go.
what she thinks because it's.
That's yeah, significantly
Let's see,
harder. What was
put your
that? Why are
feet
you
on
trying to
here.
use momentum?
Yeah, well, put your toes on.
I don't miss much.
Lift your heels. Honestly,
I know.
you think you're
My
short. Let me
I see
ask
most of
Crystal
my
what she's-
people 3 times a week, and they're like, even when you're turned that way, you see it. I'm like, that's what the mirrors are built for. So your feet are wrong. Yes. So
Jump what I
like
was.
this, and slowly. Can you articulate, or are you hinging?
Okay, so stay
So do
right
you
there.
have
I'm
any
going to get
spinal injury
Crystal over here.
sensitivities?
Just a sec,
Like,
okay, and we'll get
no,
her
no.
opinion.
Tell
But
me.
I think you need to be geared out, even though you're not that tall.
Are you lying?
You've got long legs for your torso.
So I just have issues everywhere.
Okay, so slowly start with that
I know,
pelvic
but
tilt.
look at come up
Scoop your
on
lower
your
belly tight.
tiptoes
Slowly
and
begin
see
to
where your
articulate up. Remember, Pilates
knees
is slow,
come in.
controlled. Think torturous movements.
So I'll
Now,
get her
hold
over
it
here
there.
and see if she
Sink your
agrees,
ribs.
okay?
Tuck your tailbone a little bit more. Don't drop the hips. Keep them up.
We good?
Even pressure through those arches. Good. Now sink the ribs one more time. So yeah, you want to think of that upper ab connection and the shoulders relaxing. Oh my God, you have a neck again. And then slowly come down.
We just talked about all of that. I just did that with her. I need a second opinion.
Yeah, let's see. Don't mess
Okay.
up.
So we have hamstring issues. Come up on your toes.
What's wrong with the hamstring?
Well, first of all, look at when she's on her toes, even though she's short, look at this, where her knees are.
Push your shoulders all the way back up against the shoulder blocks. She's got a longer torso. That's why. Let me just hang out here. Go ahead.
Okay, so the other thing she said when she does bridging, right here hurts in her hamstrings, which
Have
is
you ever
more
had
the
a have you ever had an injury there, or are you a runner?
No.
Okay, come.
But she stands all day in a dentist office.
So it doesn't matter. My hamstrings are like.
Okay.
But any type of bridging, that's
Come to your arches real quick.
See, I'm going to bring this back down for a second.
Yeah, because she's too petite for that. Come to your toes. I mean, you could get away with that. Scooch down an inch or two. Come to your arches on top. Go ahead. Slowly start to lift up. What do you feel? Same thing or less?
Yeah. Oh, that was my calf too.
Try your heels. Yeah. So heels are for you. Try.
Even with the TRX, when they do bridging,
Those are harder.
I feel it here.
It needs both sides.
Go ahead. Yeah, I forget the new ones are cranky. Sink your ribs. Try to stay lower. Where do you feel it? Are you squeezing your glutes? Do you feel like
Tiny bit, but hardly.
lower your butt a little bit? You just really tighten that attachment. That's when you're like close to tearing, right? So you just gotta be really mindful. You want to do some stretching and some bridging, but like try your feet on the platform. Arches. Lift up from there. Sink your ribs. Tuck your tailbone under a little bit more. Where do you feel it? Same thing or less? Little less?
More, probably the same as the least.
So same as the heels on in gear 2? Because I think your hamstrings are already tightened.
Yeah.
So you need more space for bridging. So either platform or gear 2. Platform is going to be easier accessible for you in your class. But it's going to be up to you. Let's try footwork in gear 2. Here. Pro, if you want to keep going, I'll work with her a little bit more.
Okay. All right, we're going to move on to the next thing.
Push all the way back. Up against
So
the
the next thing we typically do in class is supine arms.
Gear 2, but try
Okay.
out, see how you feel.
The purpose of supine arms is to warm up your back, your shoulder girdle. So your lat muscles, your rhomboids, your traps, everything across the back. Okay.
Yeah, it's like not enough, right? It's like not enough range.
You know the basic, up and down, T-pull, and circles. Very easy. I know a lot of people already know that if you do a chest lift, you're adding abdominals to that. But what you don't realize is when you do that, you're not really warming up your back anymore. You've changed the exercise. So
Work here,
recently, I've actually been
bridging feet
saying,
on platform.
do at
So
least
even I put my
4
feet on the
before you
platform
do a
'cause
chest
I'm
lift,
always
okay?
standing for 6
Most
minutes, and then I
cases,
sit
we're
for
going to
another
do
6 set
ab
of
work
abs. So my
anyway.
hamstrings are literally
So
like,
you don't need to do a chest lift during supine
so
arms.
that's what mine are too.
The other thing that I'm going to
So I
point
put my
out
feet
to
on the
you is when
platform
you
to
do
start,
a chest
always.
lift, you're activating the rectus abdominis right
Don't use
here.
them.
The rectus abdominis are the
Too
six
much
pack.
strain on my hamstrings
They're
and
the
calves.
show abs. They have a job,
Too much strain.
but they're not the
You're
important
probably
abs.
pointing and
The
straining.
important
If
abs
you
are the
flex your feet
transverse
and push
down below your
it'll
belly
feel
button
different.
and the obliques. So what you're doing is you're jeopardizing
Just the way that you're putting
your
your feet on.
shoulders for ego. All right? This is Pearl talking. That's just how I feel about it. I don't know if you heard what I just said.
Nope.
Okay. Well, anyway, they don't want, I'm scolding, so they probably don't want to hear it again. Anyway, so that's how I feel about it. If you feel you want to add a chest lift to your supine arms, I'm not going to stop you because it's your workout. But if you're doing what you want to do, and that's to warm up the back, you'll keep your head down until it's time. Now, if you want to add the transverse abs to your supine arms, we start you in tabletop. Take your legs to 90 degrees. Take your legs to 45 degrees. Now you're challenging your transverses, which are the important abdominals because they protect your low back. But the only way you should be doing that is if your pelvis is stable, because if you start to take your legs in the air and you're arching your low back to do that, you're not doing yourself any favors, okay? So you always have to be strong before you level up to the next level. And if you're not strong, leveling up isn't going to help you, okay? So the way that we've got set up for the supine arms, first of all, if you geared out, we'll have to gear you in. One red and one blue, and we'll come around and help you do that. So one red and one blue are the springs for the carriage. The yellow springs are set on number 3 for supine arms on the floor. So we can do supine arms on the carriage. We can do supine arms on the floor. I have it on 3. If you have any shoulder issues, bring it down to 2. On the floor, head towards the springboard, feet towards the center aisle. On the carriage, if you want to put the ball between your thighs, it helps you activate your abdominals a little deeper. If you squeeze it, if you just let it hang out, it's not doing much good. All righty. So if you're on the floor, knees bent, I want you to do 2 pulls to test the tension. Closer for more tension, further away for more, closer for less. Come away a little bit because your head's bumping into the thing. All righty.
Beautiful. Now, your legs up to tabletop.
Legs on the reformer, your legs must be in tabletop.
Come to the short loops.
On the floor, if you wish to keep your feet on the floor, you can, or you can bring them to tabletop. So let's just do the reach and pull a few times. And what I want you to experiment with is feeling it in your underarms, feeling it in your back.
Stop right there.
Maybe if you'd like, tabletop. Check that your spine is neutral. If you want to take and straighten your legs or take them out to 45, you can.
Nice.
On the floor, it's more tension than on the reformer. It's more challenging. You're going to have to really anchor your shoulders harder. If you cannot keep your spine in a neutral position on the floor, bend your knees and put your feet back on the floor and just focus on warming up the back.
Lock your elbow joints. Good.
As you do this, navel to spine, you want your ribs knitted in. So if when your arms go up, your ribs are popping up, your back is probably arching. So you want to take advantage of that. Your hands should come all the way down and then resist the springs back up. We're warming up the back, so you want to go slow and controlled.
So I want to keep this quiet.
For those of you who think you want to have the rectus worked on, can, if you want
then
to
lift the
try,
thighs back
first
up.
do a couple and just feel it in
Good.
your back
So I prefer
and in
people
your
keep their head
lats,
down because
and
we
then
spend
do
so
a
much time in our
couple
lives in
chest lifts as you do it, and just feel the
rounded
difference and
forward.
feel how you're
So
not
chest lift
as
is great to work
deeply into your
rectus
back.
abdominis, but the one that needs the most love is
Always
transverse
keep your
abdominis,
wrists
especially
straight.
for
If you
women.
start to bend your wrists
Good.
on the way
So sink
down,
those ribs a little
you're
more.
not working as much in your back.
That's
That's
okay.
your
Yeah.
body
So
trying to
think
make it
it's
a
really
little
about the breath. So
easier.
when you inhale and you
Fingers
breathe
all
into
the
the
way
rib cage,
down, all the
when
way
you
down.
exhale, it's
No,
about
open all the way
inhaling
down,
and
all the way
pulling
down.
the belly
There you
in and
go.
out. It's
And
work.
keep the wrists straight. Feel the difference
Inhale, the
all the
ribs
way
expand.
down.
Slow, slow, slow.
Perfect.
Exhale.
We don't need to do a lot of these. I want you to feel more the stability of your shoulders, the engagement of your
It's okay. They're
abdominals,
gonna shrug when you're
where
first
your
learning, but
legs
that's the
are.
concept to try to not.
And then when you're ready,
corset, so that
after
inhale,
you've
we
tried a
lift.
few, let's switch, okay?
Exhale.
And see how it's
Pull
different
it all
on
in.
the other
Yeah, now
apparatus.
try not to strain your neck. Yeah, it's okay, it's okay. And then you're gonna try it on the springs. You might find it easier there because it's not moving. So when we first opened the studio, we were always there because that's, I don't want to say easier, but you can find stability better.
Thank you.
You're
That was
welcome.
awesome.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I really appreciate it.
Of course. I'm here
So,
to bother you.
You guys know where you are. Try it again. We're going to do it quickly because we're winding down some, and I don't want to move.
We are going.
We're going.
Yeah.
Well,
flow, baby.
yes.
I didn't take any pictures.
That's okay.
One right now.
So I have a big menu of things that I wanted to do today, but I think what we've done is really important for everyone. So we're going to get as far as we can get.
And maybe we'll see another workshop.
Maybe we'll have to do leveling up part 2.
I think these are great. By the way.
You do? Good.
Yeah, like super, super, super helpful.
Write an email to the owners and tell them how much you love them and that we should be paid more. No,
I will.
teasing.
I think everybody says that. Okay, so go slower.
Perfect. How are you doing?
So
Did you try
try not to
both
lock your
places?
elbows. Good.
All righty, beautiful. Because
Inhale
I
in,
do want to get
hold it.
on to the
Your
next
ribs just
thing.
splayed a bit.
So
Think about your shoulders separating a little
go
bit
ahead
more.
and stay right where you are.
Think protracting a little bit because you're.
We're going to just talk about
don't
abs
shrug
for a moment.
Mm-hmm. Flip your palms to
Okay,
face each
so
other.
we have the series
try
of
this one
5,
for
which
your
is
body.
probably the
So this is more
best
a private
abs
kind
to
of a
talk
thing for you,
about.
but go
Single
ahead,
leg
push your
stretch,
arms
double
down,
leg stretch,
and when you press down,
scissors,
think
lower
about
and lift,
knitting the ribs
and
in and
crisscross.
pulling your transverse abdominis.
All righty,
Same
and
time,
when
make
you
sure
have
exhale.
springs, you can roll up your head, neck, and
Then inhale,
shoulders.
yes, the ribs
I think I'm just
expand.
going to go over
Keep
these, and
your
you guys
shoulders
can
relaxed.
try what
Good.
makes
Inhale.
sense to you.
And
Single
then
leg
exhale.
stretch.
Pull
This
it
one
all
has
in.
some specific things.
Yes, that's
So
Pilates breath.
Joseph Pilates, when he created
Totally
it,
different.
you start in
You're doing Pilates,
tabletop.
welcome.
You take a hold of one knee.
That's
The
not
way
like
you
that.
hold your knee
But
is
that's okay,
you
because
reach
it's
the
also
hand
that
across
hurt
in front of the
your
knee,
past is
and the
gonna
outside
say,
hand is
"Hey,
just
I'm
against
fixing
your shin.
everything."
And then you
There's nothing
switch
like
sides,
kissing.
and you switch sides, okay?
Giving
So
you that.
hand is across the knee. Think of guiding that knee towards
And
your
then you can work
shoulder,
more
and then
here
the
as you
outside
think
continues
about
to guide it.
wrapping the
And then you're
lats
going to
around,
switch sides. So
connecting to the
just
ribs
try
and zipping like that, 'cause remember,
hand.
all
No.
connected, right?
Shin,
And sometimes, like if we're tight
cross
over
knee.
here, that protraction
No.
helps
There
get
you go.
a little
Now
bit more, but I'm not
switch.
like pushing it out. I'm just separating my
Shin,
shoulder blades because my lats
cross.
might be tighter.
So think about pulling your knee into your chest.
Your lats are tighter.
All right,
yeah.
but you're
So, and
reaching
that's why I
across,
changed your
pulling
hand
it in,
positioning
and then the
and your
outside
shoulder
hand just
positioning
guides it so
versus
it
straight
doesn't
down,
go
'cause I'm the
wonky
same
on
way.
you.
Well, for this, yeah.
Okay, neck and okay, so
So
when
Tia would
we're
lessen the
doing
range for you,
ab
so you're gonna
work
press
like
the arms
this,
down.
where you have to lift
Press
your
the arms
head,
down.
neck, and shoulders,
Yes.
who
Try not
has
to lock
neck
up the
ache?
elbows, belly tight.
All right.
Inhale,
So the
slowly open the
reason
arms
most,
out.
if you do not have neck
Stop around
issues,
there.
if you have neck
Slide the
issues
shoulders
or
away. Come on, relax,
osteoporosis,
just
you
hold
should
it.
keep your head
Zip the
down.
ribs a little bit more, belly
If you
tighter.
do
Now
not have neck
inhale.
issues and you're
Feel the
feeling it
ribs
in your
expand.
neck,
Exhale,
basically what's
slowly knit
happening is
everything
when
back
you
in.
lift, do a chest
So
lift,
think that
your ribs come
crunchy
in and
pull.
up, your abs come in. So watch. My neck
I know,
didn't
they all
go
fixated.
anywhere. When your abs are weak, then when you lift your head, your neck, your body wants to help. So you become like a turtleneck. Okay? It's what do turtles do? They poke their head out, all right? If you are doing any kind of exercise with your head, neck, and shoulders up, and you're feeling it in your neck, lay back down. Either stay down or reset and come up. It's got to come from here, from those rectus abdominis. If they are not strong enough or you're just not using them, you're going to feel it in your neck. Our series of 5, you are supposed to have the head, neck, and shoulders up. If you cannot, for any reason, there are modifications. For example, on the single leg stretch, instead of tabletop, let your feet come down closer to the floor and glide them on the floor, and then you're going to be more into your transverse abdominis because you're not using your rectus, okay? Make sense? All right. Now, my favorite one to attempt to correct, crisscross. All righty. Two ways to take your hands. Fingertips lightly behind your head, elbows wide. If you pull on your head, don't do this. If you have trouble with your neck, don't do this. Cross your forearms over your chest. Not like so, not like so. Fingertips lightly on your shoulders with an X. It's like an X in the front. I want you to pull your shoulder blades down and back. We're not hugging ourselves. You still have to have collarbones open, shoulders wide. Then you're going to go ahead, legs in tabletop, chest lift, bring that chest up. Lengthen your right leg. Now, rotate your rib cage towards your bent knee. Not your shoulder, not your elbow, your rib cage. You might only move an inch, but then you're going to feel it in your obliques. Then switch. Inhale to the center, exhale to switch. That rib cage should rotate. And if you do it properly, you're going to feel those obliques get on fire. Your transverse are going to be feeling it, and your rectus, your whole midsection are going to be working. Try, you're still doing a little bit of this. Try to keep those. So one of the things to, yes, either cross over in front, because that'll keep you, yep, or pinch the shoulder blades together in the back so everything moves. Okay, so if you pinch those shoulder blades, move from the rib cage. So just try to rotate.
Work on that flexion.
Now,
Probably
see?
tighter there.
Keep it open.
So
Okay, I'm going to hold your arms.
Oh,
now
boy.
rotate the rib
Yeah,
cage.
you
Now,
can
rib cage, rib cage.
I can't even get, I don't think I can get up there.
All right, I'm gonna let you go. Ready?
Okay,
Hold it. Take
so
it in.
one of the
When you
ways,
exhale,
one of the ways to
pull your
practice
abs
it,
in and up.
yes,
There you go.
you,
And then slowly lower back down, nice and slow. So that tells me that
yep.
this is tighter.
Okay, so if
you're
you
ever
want to
up against the
practice
wall,
rotating
try
your
to roll
rib
down
cage.
one vertebra at a time. Try to roll back up one vertebra at a time, just creating length.
There you go. Now
And
feel the
wall
rib
offers
cage
you
through. You're still
support
throwing a shoulder
as you roll
into
down
it a
and roll
little
back
bit.
up.
Anybody need some help on their crisscross? Then you
Lower
keep,
back.
okay, so, okay, so okay, so if you have neck, you
Okay, so it's
really,
probably
that's a
thoracic,
hard
that's
one
why
to
you're
do.
tighter, so your muscles have done it.
So
be
one of
careful
the
with
things
chest
that you
lift,
can do,
right?
an
Where do you have your
optional
bulging disc
other
in the
exercise.
thoracic?
Say you have
Where?
neck issues or back issues and you should not be rotating, okay? You're going to bring your legs
Were you
to
in a car accident?
tabletop. We're going to do something called a can-can because it's going to get into the abs the same.
Okay.
Can-can, you drop your
So
knees
I
to the
wouldn't even
right,
chest lift.
you kick out, bring them
So what I
back
would work
in,
on is
come to the left,
the breath
kick
work,
out, bring them back
connecting
in.
the abdominals on the
So
breathing.
not fast.
You don't need to chest lift.
You're not a dancer. This is an exercise. So you're going to the right,
Focus on
2,
So hold on to the
3,
ball.
4,
Together.
5.
Push the ball.
There
on
you
the
go.
thighs.
Feel that in your obliques?
Hands
Yes.
stack 'em.
So that would be an alternate if you're
shoulders.
not supposed
You're
to
gonna
be doing
inhale in, fill up out your
crisscross.
ribs.
And sometimes this
And
is
as
an
you
exercise
exhale,
that's being
think about
done.
pulling
When
your
I
lower
do
abdominals in up and
an
sinking your rib
osteoporosis
cage
friendly,
down.
I'll do this
Push the
rather
ball a
than
little bit. You
crisscross
should feel your
because
abs
it gets
firing.
into
Yeah,
the
there you go.
obliques.
Try to keep your hip flexors quiet.
Okay,
Inhale, release. Inhale.
we good on the
Exhale,
abs?
and push into the
Yep,
ball gently.
I'm cranking
That's
through
working
here. I
your
want to try to
transverse
get you
abdominis.
guys as much as
Yeah.
possible.
So you could
Okay,
always do that, and
so
then you can do oblique work. Right?
let's
Put one on the
do
thigh.
some
You'll inhale in.
upper body
And as
because you
exhale,
guys are set up for
squeeze
that
and
on the
squeeze.
reformer,
And
right?
extend the one leg out.
You have one red spring on the reformer.
And
No,
you'll work
we
on
need
those
one red
abdominals
spring
there.
on
You
the
don't have
reformer,
to. You can do it
and
with the circle
on
too,
the
but the ball is usually the kindest one.
yellow, the yellow springs
people that
are
have
right.
cervical spine
One red. All you
issues,
want is one red. Okay.
Mhm,
Let's
yeah.
turn
So
towards the
chest
back
lifting
of the
probably is
room
not the
because we're
best for
going
us.
to
That's
do
why we couldn't
side
get there
arms
without
here.
putting you there.
Okay.
Right? Because the bones
So
are like,
turn towards this
and
direction.
that's okay, right?
All right. And what you're going to do, we got different ways to sit. When you're on the reformer, you can sit crisscross legs, all righty, when you're facing the back of the room. Some people, crisscross doesn't work for. You're going to have to let your legs hang over the edge. In a level 1.5, if we're moving up to that, if you're in that position, we actually kneel on the reformer. Now, if you have knee issues, you can't do that. You have to sit crisscross, okay? So those of you who want to kneel on the reformer or on the floor, you can do that. If not, you're going to sit crisscross. All righty? When you kneel on the reformer, the first thing you do is you put your shin up against the shoulder blocks for safety. All the way up against the shoulder blocks. Then, whether you're on the floor, you're going to find your distance. Then, if you're kneeling, everything from your shoulder to your knee is stable. Abs are in, ribs are in, tailbone is reaching down, shoulder blades are down your back. So everything has to be strong or you're going to fall because it's a balance challenge. All right, then I'm going to have you take the spring and you're going to take it in your arm and bend your elbow. We're going to do, I'm doing just the abduction, deduction, okay? Because I want to show it lever. All right, so short loop, long loop if you need some help. You know what? If for you, I want you to sit on a box so you're higher, okay? So if you're doing crisscross on the floor, you need to be up on the box for that. All right, so your elbow is bent towards the side. Some people like to call this the beer drinking exercise, Jack Sparrow. I like to call it nudge and punch, but technically it's called abduction, deduction. Your arm's going away and it's coming in. So bring your arm across your waist. All right? Now, it's in an L shape. You're going to lead with the elbow. You're not going to let the L shape change. And when you lift, you're not going to let the shoulder lift because we want it in the shoulder joint. Okay? So you just let it come up and then press in. Okay? So this is called abduction, deduction of the arm, or one of those other funky names. All righty? The challenge for leveling up is being up on your knees. Now, we have, and I don't know if this is on our list or not, long lever, short lever. Anybody heard long lever, short lever before? Short lever is when an elbow is bent or a knee is bent. So you've got shorter distance, okay? So your legs are in tabletop, short lever. Legs are long, long lever. If your legs are in tabletop, it's easier to do the exercise than when your legs are long, right? Same thing with this. When your elbow is bent, it's easier to do it. Now I want you to take your arm long at your side, fingertips to the floor. Same thing, open up, and then squeeze your underarm and bring that long arm all the way back to your side. Bring the carriage in. Isn't that harder, more of a challenge? Okay, choke up on the rope. That's another thing you can make it more challenging. So choke up on the rope. Now let it come out. Squeeze the underarm and come in. Feel how that's different? So one of the things you want to do is keep the shoulder. Okay, you're just uneven, aren't you?
I am.
That's okay. That's right. Oh, okay. So, yep, everything. So you probably should not be articulating. Hinge bridge when we do, yeah, because anything articulation, not good for your back. All right, everybody feeling the difference between long lever, short lever? Short lever, long lever is leveling up. And so we do short level and level ones. 1.5s, a lot of time we start with short level and then move up to the long lever if you're doing well in the short level. It's always, you got to earn it in the easier version. All right. Everybody good with that? Yeah. Let's go ahead, switch, turn around and face the other direction, and you're going to do the same two exercises the other direction.
So are they switching apparatus?
Yes. Oh, yeah, they're switching apparatus and doing the other side. Yep, that's the way we're going to do it. And so, yep, you got it. You're good. Yep. Yep, whatever works. So you remember. Keep that, nope, you're not. You got to keep the shape of the arm. So you start out with your arm in an L shape. Then you're going to let the elbow lead right to there, and then you squeeze the underarm to bring it back in. All right, so now if someone is if it's really hard on the reformer, okay, so hold on to it with a fist. Bring it across. All righty, now just turn this in. Now lead with the elbow right to there. Now squeeze your underarm, bring it in. All right, so if it's bothering your shoulder or it's just too much weight, Go to the long loop. If that's too much, you need to be on a blue spring. If you're on the floor, you just go in closer or farther away. Yeah, so take the longer loop. That's going to be better for you. Okay, then you're going to be able, there you go. Try to keep the shoulders square. Now, go ahead, bring your arm across. There you go. Now feel it. You're going a little bit high. And then go ahead and grab it further down and test it with a long arm. Okay. Yeah.
What's up?
We've got 5 minutes.
No.
I'm thinking I'm going to skip over gliders.
Okay.
And we'll just talk about planks.
Love planking.
Okay.
Love planking.
All righty. Everybody good on the arms? Perfect. We're going to have to do another one of these because we didn't get to everything I wanted to talk about. But whatever we talked about was good stuff, right? Okay, so the last thing we're going to talk about is planks, full body planks. Are you going to demo? Am I going to demo? Or are we both going to do it? I don't know. Okay, so I'm going to put a couple boxes out here. Maybe I should watch everybody do a plank, and then I'll decide how much I want to demo. No? Okay, so we're not even going to do the demo and the reformer. Okay, so sometimes what you want to do is do the plank that's right for your body. And some people do forearms, some people do long arms, some people do their knees, some people should be doing their knees, okay? It just depends. So when you do a plank, what you want to do is your body should be nice and long and straight, okay? First thing, I'm going to show a knee plank. So people do a knee plank and they want to do a knee plank like this. I like to cross my ankles. It's not necessary. You always have your shoulders over your wrist. Open your fingers wide, all right? Now, if you have wrist issues, you're going to get weights or you're going to come up on your knuckles, all right? Or you're going to come down to your forearms. If you're on your forearms, they should look like the number 11. If you can make fists, and just do this. Take your hands up, make a fist. Can you feel your lat muscles engage?
Yes.
Okay, so when you're doing a plank, your back, your shoulders, that's what's holding you up. Your abdominals, it's full body. But if you're not strong in the shoulders, that's when you're going to start sinking. Then you got to be strong in the abs. So instead of this, you've got to have a straight line from your shoulders to your hips, all right? Your neck is long. Your nose should be pointing at the floor. Think of your crown of your head reaching forward. So think about your spine. It should be beautiful, long, and in its natural curve. All righty, so then when you go to a long arm, here you go. Shoulders back and down. See how I pull my shoulders down? When you have your lat muscles engaged and your shoulders strong, you can do this. I once had somebody challenge me. I did it for 4 minutes. Okay, that's not a lot, but for me it was a lot, okay? It's been a couple years ago. So, pardon me? What's that?
I think for a lot of people that's not world.
No. So what I want to show you is, so you're going to press into your palms. See my elbows come forward. See my elbow creases. You want your elbow creases to come forward, and then you want to soften them, because when you do that, you can get into your lats deeper. Then you pull your abs in. Now, don't sink into your back. Bad. You want to do a little pelvic tilt, and when you do a pelvic tilt, you flatten your back out a little more, but you pull into your abs deeper. Sink into your heels a little bit. Pull your kneecaps up. Now you got your body rock solid, and you can hold on for a long time. All right? Were you timing me? I know I've done a minute easily. No, as long as it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Okay, so yes, ma'am.
What did you mean by sinking into the heel when you did that part?
Okay, sinking into the heel. All right, so right now I'm up on my toes, right? Heels back. See what happens? When I do that, I activate my legs more. Then if you pull your kneecaps up, what you're doing is you're activating your quads more. A little bit of tilt in the pelvis. You don't want to look up. Keep that neck long, because if you do this, your neck's going to start hurting, and then you're going to want to get down. Elbows, creases forward. You soften into those elbows, you get out of your wrist, you get into your back. Those are all the little tiny things that you need to do. And then you can hold on to your plank. Now, if you're doing a plank like this, and you can't come down to this, then back up to this. Because I would rather see a strong, correct knee plank than someone trying to do a high plank, a long arm, long plank, and hips in the air. Because when your hips are in the air, you're not using your abs. And you're not using your abs probably because they're not strong enough. They have to get strong. So always think about when you're doing any exercise, get strong at the lower version before you go to the next version. Don't let your ego get you. No one in the room cares. It's your workout, okay? I mean, we care because we want you to be healthy, but your peers, they're more worried about what they're doing and if you're watching them, okay? Which you're not, right? You're not watching anybody else. So try to get strong in what you can do. And then once you're strong, then you're going to be able to go on to the next level. And I think that's the most important thing about leveling up is don't try to level up too quickly. Get strong at what at where you are, and then you can move up. Because if you're strong, you can do it again and again and again. And you can get strong without leveling up. You don't have to level up to get strong. And I'm not trying to say that to don't do it. We see too many people that want to level up and make it harder and do those kinds of things, and then they hurt themselves. And that's, yeah, exactly.
Like, I feel like I can do it, but my body is not doing it correctly, so I'm hurting myself without realizing it.
So I left a few things out. That's for the next one to come. Anybody have any questions on anything that we talked about today? No. Do you guys feel like you learned some things that are going to be helpful?
Oh, yeah. We need more workshops. Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah, well, as you can tell, I kind of have a little passion about this. I believe things are supposed to be a certain way. Yeah. Okay, so if you will put your TheraBands just on the floor at the end and then work together to clean things up. And if it's not too difficult to get the Bosu back on the chair, if it is, we'll get that done for you, okay? Oh, yeah, then after you're cleaned up, we're going to